Good time of day, guys. My name is Godzi, and welcome to Saya no Uta, or the Song of Saya. I don't know what I'm going to particularly name this series yet, but I am willing to choose whichever is more well-received, I guess. I don't know, it doesn't really matter to me. But yeah, welcome to, I'll call it Saya no Uta for now. To Saya no Uta, the series that I promised I would do a few months ago after I took a break from reading VNs, which I took a break. It's been 5 months, a little over even, and I figured, yeah, I feel like doing this. So here we are! Yahoo! I know very little about this game, other than I've heard that it's one of the more popular-ish VNs from what I've heard, like compared to stuff like Wonderful Everyday. It's a lot more recognizable in just the general like anime/game community, which is cool. I think that's mostly due to the fact that it's short, and from what I know, it's written by the same guy who wrote Fate Zero and Madoka Magica, which is cool. I have not watched either of those, or read, in the case of Fate, but oh well. They're critically acclaimed anyways, so I can trust the word of other people. So, yeah, I don't really have anything else to say, so, let's just make sure. Yeah, okay, so if you're new here, I turn off voices and do my own voices, because I like to. Yeah. Okay, oh, hello. Fully display grotesque CGs? I'll keep that on for now. But if it's grotesque, does that mean gore or porn? Or gore porn? It could be either. Whatever, we'll see. If it's too much, I'll change that option. But yeah, I did have to install a R18 patch for it. I looked into it to see, like, is that worth doing? And from what I generally saw from, like, forums on Reddit and Steam, it's like, yeah, kinda. It's not super duper necessary, but it's probably worth doing, so yeah, I did that. It actually cost money, which was fun, but oh well. Yeah, let's start. The story is a work of fiction. The procedures and conditions described herein are imaginary and do not reflect actual. I did not see the last line. This work of fiction contains grotesque images that may disturb some viewers. Please select how you would like such images displayed. I already saw that! I'm assuming I can change it later, since it was just in the config menu, so we'll go with do not modify for now. Would that be one of them? Because that's not too bad, at least. The wriggling mass of flesh burbles. Music seems like it's probably a little loud. Can I access the config from here? Yes, config menu. I'm just gonna turn down the BGM a hair. That might be a little too quiet now. That's probably better. Okay. Okay. Close the right-click menu. Hey! The wriggling mass of flesh burbles. Haha! Give FDF Suba Grunstly. 3 such creatures sit around the table in front of me, slurping filthy sludge from their cups as they trade whines, grabbles, and sounds that I cannot describe. Ew. I mean, it's creepy looking, but whatever. Money at money. I feel like they're just gonna put my IP address on here at this point. What? Okay. I mean, It's not that bad, I can deal. By listening carefully, I am able to grasp the gist of their conversation and respond when it is required of me. This is necessary to avoid arousing their suspicion. However these creatures look, they are my friends, apparently. Huh. And I am Dude. My name is Man, and I am the protagonist. I hope I have a character, and am not just a self-insert, but we'll see what kind of VN this is, I guess. I wish that I could still deny it, but I gave up on that a long time ago. Night after night, I went to sleep praying for an end to this nightmare, only to wake each morning to the same twisted hellscape as the day before. I know now that I have to blend in, that I have to act like one of them. Such has been my life these past 3 months, and so it will remain until the day I die. Angst! Judging by its tone, this one must be Koji, and the one next to him, squealing more than the others, is probably Omi. Which means that the one next to me is Yo, though I can no longer see any trace of her once attractive features. I try my best to ignore the rotten stench of excrement that issues from her quivering flesh. Actually, I wonder, are these actually technically voiced? I hope I don't regret this. They are indeed voiced. Okay. I mean, that's not that bad. That's kind of cool. Alright. Everything has changed. Or almost everything. By some cruel trick of fate, my relationship to the world alone remains the same. As if an insane architect took the blueprints of my life and rebuilt it out of blood and gore. These monsters and I were part of the same college club. We studied together, ate together, we even went skiing together every winter break. Now, these are but painful memories of days that will never return. If only no one recognized me, I might have been able to disconnect myself from the world. It would have been comforting in comparison to believe that I had been abducted by aliens, or that I had stumbled through a gateway to hell. I mean, I'm going to assume that based on, like, just this presentation, I'm hoping this protagonist isn't just a self-insert, and actually has character to him. Because, like, why else would... He's clearly got some attachment to life if he's not just gonna give up after everyone and everything around him is turned into, like, a fucking Zerg construct from StarCraft. Jesus. But no, this is beyond a doubt the city where I was born and raised. The society that I was part of for 20 years. Save that I, and I alone, can no longer see it that way. As far as you know. I'm just gonna throw that in there. The world as I knew it is gone. I have no place to call home. Anyway, I can tell that whatever they're discussing is of no importance to me. I decide to keep quiet while pretending to listen. But just then... Oh, shit! Hey, Fuminori! One of the flesh beasts says as it swivels its bloodshot eyes toward me. What do you think? About what? I tried desperately to suppress my loathing and behave normally, but my hoarse voice ruins the attempt. We're talking about this here ski trip. They're coming too, right? A slimy hole near the top of the creature rises nauseatingly as it vomits some semblance of words. That must be Koji's face, or what I would have seen as such 3 months ago. Oh, wow. Unable to stomach the sight of it, I avert my eyes and give a neutral answer. I don't know. You have other plans? Not really. These were my closest companions. One of them had even wished to be more. How many nights have I spent crying in loneliness, lamenting the friends who no longer exist? In 3 months, my tears ran dry, and now there's only loathing left in me. Surrounded by hideous creatures that I can only assume are Koji, Omi, and Yo, I spend each day trying to act as I always have. If I fail at this, I'll surely be sent back to the hospital. Only this time, I'll be locked away forever. No matter what, I won't let that happen. So you've actually, like, said out loud, "Why is everything a writhing mass of flesh? This is fucking weird," and they put you in a mental ward for the time being? That must have been fucked up and terrifying, genuinely. Holy shit.
I mean, it's not like physical activity can affect your injuries, right?
I'm not sure. I'll ask the doctor during my checkup. That's it. I can't look at them or bear their screeching any longer. I jump to my feet, desperate to escape.
Hey, Fuminori!
A spray of stringy slime from the cilia around its voice box flies at me. I try to cover myself, but too late to keep the slime from splattering across my face like the yolk of a rotten egg. So, sometimes he can understand them, other times they can't? I'm assuming? I'm about to lose it. I want to grab a chair, a desk, anything within reach, and use it to smash the life out of this creature, ending it all. I barely suppress the impulse. I mustn't let on that something is wrong. However they look to me, this is their world. I'm the outsider here. Like I said, today's my checkup. I've got to go. Struggling to put on a smile, I reach into my wallet, pull out the first bill I find, and put it on the table without even looking at it. I don't care about the change. I just need to get out of here. Now. What, you're paying off your friends to... Oh, food. Okay, that makes more sense. Later, I mutter hastily and flee the cafeteria. I'm not crazy. Oh. People! Oh, what they actually look like. Cool. Is Omi the dude? I will assume so for now. Hey, says Takahata Omi. Why don't we go somewhere we can skate for this year's ski trip? Tsukuba Yo frowns at the suggestion. Skate? But why go to a ski resort to skate? Give her a break, Tsukuba. It's all she talks about these days. Okay, so Omi is a girl. Koji is the dude. And the other girl is Yo. Got it. Tono Koji supports Omi with a laugh. Her impromptu suggestions are nothing new, and it's Koji's role as her boyfriend to provide backup. Okay, so the girl here is Omi, the guy is Koji, which was already obvious, I guess. They're a good match for each other, Yo thinks. Sometimes it makes her jealous. I mean, she'd seriously never gone skating before I took her the other day. Hey, is it really that strange? Not many people start skating in their 20s, you know. I was scared when I was little. Those shoes looked like big knives. Oh, character sprites. I'm guessing this is Yo. But you picked it up just like that? It's pretty amazing, Omi. It's a lot like skiing. You keep your weight forward and use the angle of the shoes to steer. Maybe, I don't know who's talking. I know it's supposed to help with the voices on, but I'm stubborn! So, whatever. You made it sound so easy. I figured I should give it a try, and it was fun. So it was a date. Yo feels a stab of envy. Koji and Omi enjoy their time together, as normal lovers do. That's certainly not something that should make her jealous. It's just that her luck in love has been bad. Oh, well, I want to see Omi skate too. Yo keeps her voice upbeat, trying to cover up her disquiet. She knows that it's wrong to envy her friends. She too would be spending time with the man she admires, if not for the terrible tragedy that befell him. His is true misfortune. Her bad luck doesn't begin to compare. And you're Omi then? So how about it? If we make the next ski trip a skating trip too, it'll be twice as fun. But you can skate at a skating rink, can't you? Why go all the way to a ski resort? I don't want to skate indoors. I want to skate outside on a lake or something. That sounds fun, but won't it be crowded? While speaking, Yo sneaks a sideways glance at the young man sitting next to her. Although the conversation has involved only 3 people so far, there are in fact 2 couples at the cafeteria table. Yo's boyfriend, though there's still some doubt over whether he could be called that, is beside her, as silent and expressionless as a statue. And this is the main dude, or who they framed as the main dude at least. Hey, Fuminori, what do you think? Oh, that's Koji. Hey, Fuminori, what do you think? Perhaps Koji sensed Yo's pain in his usual quiet and considerate way. About what? The cause of Yo's distress. Sakisaka Fuminori responds to Koji's sudden query with a vague, mumbled question of his own. We're talking about this winter ski trip. You're coming too, right? Koji speaks gingerly, as though probing a tumor. A few months ago, he would not have hesitated to rebuke Fuminori for his attitude. Their long acquaintance had forged a strong and honest friendship. But now, I don't know. Fuminori responds bluntly, his downcast eyes and sullen demeanor making it clear that he has no desire to break his silence. You have plans? Not really. Even Koji, Fuminori's best friend, cannot communicate with him as before. What hope does Yo have of breaking through his shell? The scars left by the events of that late summer day are still deep all these months later. Each one of the 4 bears them, not only Fuminori. I mean, it's not like physical activity could affect your injuries, right? Not sure. I'll ask the doctor during my checkup. As though that answer drained the last of his patience, Fuminori bolts out of his chair. Hey, Fuminori! Even Koji can't keep his voice from rising as he tries to stop Fuminori from leaving. Fuminori reacts swiftly, throwing his hand over his face as though to shield himself from something terrifying. Maybe some split flew inadvertently from Koji's mouth, but that happens sometimes. Fuminori's reaction is beyond the pale. Like I said, Fuminori snaps, making no attempt to relieve the discomfort of his friends. Today's my checkup. I have to go. Even as he tosses money on the table to pay for his coffee, he acts like he's touching something filthy. Later. Fuminori stalks out of the cafeteria, almost as if he's running away. Cloaked in heavy silence, the remaining 3 lowered their gaze to the table, where the abandoned 10,000 yen bill sways forlornly. Fuminori's coffee is untouched. I can't take this anymore, Omi says with a sigh, but Koji shakes his head reproachfully. Fuminori just needs a little more time. Okay, so you're Koji, not Fuminori. Okay. Right, because Fuminori had black hair. I thought it was just some weird artistic decision between his sprite and the CG. But it's been 3 months! What's with his attitude? I feel like I'm going crazy hanging around him. Hey, I don't understand what he's going through either. I don't think any of us can. Can you imagine losing your whole family like that? That'd screw anyone up. It could have happened to anyone. A tractor trailer flipped over on the highway, crushing the Sakisaka family car into twisted scrap. They said it had been difficult to tell the bodies of Fuminori's parents apart. Oh, okay, so it's trauma, then, that the sight of his parents' dead body, overwrote his reality? Kinda? I don't know. I'm just spitballing. For a while, it had looked as if there was no hope for Fuminori either. It was nothing short of a miracle that he was able to leave the hospital and return to a normal life. He was worse when we went to see him in the hospital, remember? He was terrified of us, like he didn't know who we were. He even had to be tied to the bed, he freaked out so bad. Okay. So it's not that he was brought to a mental ward, okay, got it. I'm just glad he's made it this far. There's still something strange about him. What's with the way he looks at us? It's like we're not even human. Cut it out, Omi, Koji says forcefully. Probably less out of empathy for his friend than out of consideration for Yo. While Koji's kindness makes her happy, Yo also knows that she mustn't take advantage of it. Fuminori is the victim, just as Koji said. He's the one who most deserves sympathy. Yo's feelings for Fuminori are her problem, and no one else's. She doesn't blame Fuminori for not giving her an answer after she worked up the courage to ask him out. In fact, she thinks even more fondly of him for taking the time to consider than she would have had he treated the relationship casually. Apparently, the fact that Fuminori did not reject her was enough to make them a couple in Koji and Omi's eyes. They've had plenty of fun at Yo and Fuminori's expense since. The truth of it, though, is that he still hasn't given her an answer. After revealing her feelings to him, Yo didn't see Fuminori again until a week later, and then she could only stare at his broken body through the window of the ICU. And when he was finally released, after 50 days that seemed an eternity, he was somehow different. She's starting to doubt that he even remembers what she confessed to him before the accident. So, it's been 3 months since he started seeing everything in a fucked up, hellish way. 50 days, so he was in the hospital for the first, almost 2 months, so it's been, 4 weeks since, I'm guessing. Now winter is coming, and her feelings hang forgotten in the cold, lonely air. Okay, so this is a delusion that's isolated to him. Got it. Dr. Tanbo Ryoko has never had a more troublesome patient. Any changes since your last visit? I'm guessing this is Fuminori again? No, nothing to speak of. His voice is hard and flat, his words tossed carelessly into the air. It's like he's speaking to himself in an empty room. Ryoko is a surgeon, not a psychiatrist, but even she can sense the thickness of the wall he has erected between himself and the world. Any nausea, dizziness, or hallucinations? No. While Sakisaka appears to be looking at Ryoko, his gaze is actually aimed a fraction down into the side. He's only superficially engaged in the conversation, when in truth it does not interest him in the slightest. Perfect rejection. Realizing that she can't interview him like this, Ryoko sighs and sets her chart aside. Mr. Sakisaka, the procedure you received at this hospital was the latest in experimental neurosurgery. We explained this before, didn't we? Treatment of subdural hematoma through the use of micromachines, a procedure available in Japan exclusively here at T University, had been the only way to save Sakisaka Fuminori from a cerebral contusion that should have been fatal. Is this experimental treatment the reason why he sees everything the way he does? Because I'm guessing then that since he was in the car crash, he didn't see his parents' mangled corpses, huh? With any experimental treatment, there is always the risk of unexpected complications. Of course. Sakisaka Fuminori's lips twist slightly in what might be a bitter or mocking smile, but it is gone before Ryoko can discern its meaning. Normally, I would never say anything to frighten a patient. But there have been reports of serious neurological disorders post-surgery. We must continue to monitor your condition carefully. Hence these weekly checkups. If only he would take them a little more seriously. Oh, there's a sprite for you. Woohoo. How was last week's MRI? Sakisaka asks abruptly, as if to catch Ryoko off guard. MRI, magnetic resonance imaging, is a way for doctors to examine the brain in detail without opening the patient's skull. Surprised by Sakisaka's uncommon technical knowledge, Ryoko recalls his profile. Oh, that's right, you're a medical student, aren't you? The kind of anomaly you're worried about should show up on the MRI, right? Did you find anything? No. There was nothing. Not the slightest hint of abnormal activity. For a procedure with such a low rate of success, the results have been nothing short of miraculous. However, something still bothers Ryoko. She can't shake the feeling that he's hiding something beneath his guarded exterior. Some terrible weight on his soul, perhaps. But if it's an inorganic problem, then there's nothing she can do as long as he refuses to explain it. I'm fine. I've been on my own for 3 months without any problems. What could go wrong now? Please, you know that continued observation is required after these difficult surgeries. You have to trust us a little more. I suppose you're right. I do want to trust you, Doctor. Can I come to you with anything? Yes, of course, Ryoko answers, smiling to cover up her irritation. Sakisaka asked exactly the same question during last week's visit. I don't know which one's speaking now. Well then, let's pick up where we left off. Have you learned anything about Dr. Ogai? Unable to answer, Ryoko hardens the mask of her smile, so that was Fuminori. Christ. As before, the patient is inquiring about someone whom he has no business knowing. Is it possible then, to change the type of text box to, no, it doesn't seem to. Script version. That's not something I can click on. Oh, well, that's fine. Okay. If you don't mind my asking, what does Dr. Ogai have to do with your treatment? You just told me to trust you, and now you're keeping secrets. Ryoko is used to patients treating her with hostility. Some degree of paranoia is natural when dealing with a person whose mistakes could kill you. In Sakisaka, however, she doesn't see the anxiety that other patients exhibit. His demeanor is perfectly calm, almost like a detective questioning a suspect. He left the hospital some time ago. I never had any contact with him myself. Do you know why he left? Yes, I believe it was personal, Ryoko answers smoothly, her earlier hesitation gone. Having decided at the outset to lie, she has no trouble doing so with a straight face. But why do you keep asking about Dr. Ogai? Are you acquainted? Did you know that the doctor has gone missing? No. Ryoko realizes that her answer may have been a little too quick. She should have acted more surprised. I've recently become close with a relative of his. It was she who asked me to find him. A relative? Ryoko considers this with a frown. I didn't think Dr. Ogai had any relatives. Oh? Who told you that? I heard it from a nurse, Ryoko replies, remembering that she just claimed to have had no contact with the man. I see. The doctor was famous enough to have nurses gossiping about him? I hear he was an unusual man. But no one knows why he left the university? Ryoko falls silent, knowing that this isn't a topic she can brush away with a smile. Sakisaka seems to have finally grasped her mood, however, as his strangely stiff tone softens a little. Please, I have to find Dr. Ogai. There's a girl who needs him. Can't you help me? Isn't this something the police should handle? Although she makes it sound like the most obvious thing in the world, the suggestion is actually a gamble. If Ogai Masahiko's disappearance becomes a police matter, then the university will be investigated. Everyone who was involved in the incident will be at risk of exposure. And of course, that includes Ryoko herself. She knows, however, that Sakisaka is unlikely to go to the police. First of all, his excuse is obviously a lie. They already made sure that Ogai had no relatives who might come looking for him, which is why they could bury the truth of what happened. But then how did Sakisaka, a mere patient, learn about Ogai? I'd be happy to help, but there's been no word from Dr. Ogai since he resigned last April. I can only assume that he's gone on an extended vacation. I see. Expecting resistance, Ryoko is surprised when Sakisaka backs down. She's still worried about his condition, and the mysterious link between him and Ogai is only making her more uneasy. but as long as he doesn't open up to her, there's nothing she can do. After a brief pause, Ryoko writes progress good on Sakisaka's chart for today. About next week's appointment, how does 4 o'clock again sound? Before she can finish, Sakisaka is gone. Okay. Yep, back to his perspective. It looks like someone sprayed the walls with pig guts from sealing the floor. What color should the walls of a hospital be? White, of course. And to the creatures of rotten flesh shambling around me, I'm sure this hallway looks just as white as it should. I know, intellectually, that the walls are white. I know that the flesh beasts are actually human. I'm the one with the problem, and it's because I've accepted this that I'm able to lead something approaching a normal life. Even if my university's medical department is nowhere near as good as T University's, I'm still a medical student specializing in neurology. I have a basic idea of what has happened to me, though it's hard to believe. Seriously? This isn't a pathological condition. It's probably some form of agnosia unlike anything that has ever been studied before. The flesh beast called Tanbo Ryoko said that other patients had developed neurological disorders after receiving the same treatment I did. So I guess I'm just another failure. Makes me want to laugh in that know-it-all doctor's face. That said, I don't blame the doctors who operated on me. After all, I do owe them my life. I know as well as anyone how low the chance of success was, and that I had no other hope of survival. Oh, jeez. I was unlucky. That's all there is to it. The point is that my condition isn't treatable. Just like someone adapting to a hearing aid or wheelchair, I have no choice but to adapt to this nauseating scenery. Of course it's hard. It wasn't easy to resign myself to this fate. But now there's more than just despair. Even for me, there is a glimmer of hope, and that is... Keeping my eyes on my feet, I hurry home. Is your home like this too? I mean, this is clearly an apartment building, right? Or not? I live in a quiet suburban neighborhood, in a house that's much too large for me alone. My parents, even unluckier than I was, died in the accident 3 months ago. I couldn't even go to the funeral for being in intensive care. I had to sell my father's business, but at least that left me with the house and enough money to live on for a while. Of course I'm sad, but the accident took more from me than my parents. In fact, being on my own has probably saved me. If they were still alive, my parents would never have allowed me to live with some strange girl. Is this the girl in the logo, and is she human or flesh beast? I'm gonna assume it is, but I don't know what voice to give her yet, so I don't fucking know. Welcome home! As I open the door, a bright voice greets me from the kitchen. The voice is beautiful and clear as a bell. Human. Its sweet sound washes the day's cacophony from my memory. Damn, you live like this? I'm home, Saya. Yep, it is. I'm assuming. Even the patter of feet coming down the hallway is music to my ears. Nowhere else in the city can I hear such footsteps. Only in this house with Saya. I am so privileged. Am I so privileged? Got it. Hello. I don't know, something spunky, cutesy-ish? I don't know. You're late. I was a little worried. Sorry, I had to stop by the hospital today. Oh, that was today? In her smile, in the inquisitive tilt of her head, is everything that I have lost. Since my accident, this girl is the only person I've met, perhaps the only person in the entire world, who does not trigger my cognitive disorder. True, her skin seems too white, and the color of her eyes and hair is probably different in reality, but even so, her form is undeniably human. And it's not just her appearance and her voice either. As I bend down to take off my shoes, Saya wraps her arms around my neck and pulls me gently into her tiny bosom. Okay, how old is she? I need to know this first before shit gets too fucking weird. There's no way the R18 patch was just, like, unblurred gore photos, right? Her skin feels truly human, not cold or slimy, and from her hair wafts a sweet feminine fragrance. In all the world, only Saya is pleasing to my five senses. And what's more, she smiles at me, embraces me. She knows that she is my salvation, and for some reason is happy that I need her. If I had not met Saya, if I had been all alone in this twisted, filth-ridden world, I would no doubt have succumbed to madness. It is no exaggeration to say that Saya alone is keeping me alive. Okay, so, as I said earlier, you'd have some attachment to the world, and it seems to be her. What did you do today? Oh, fuck, that was him. Shit. Sorry, I had a frog in my throat. What did you do today? Worked on the living room. The painting's half done. And now I'm making your dinner like I learned from the TV. Sounds good. It'll take a little longer. Can you wait? Sure. I'll do some more work in the living room. After I see the humming Saya off to the kitchen, I step into the living room. Oh! Oh shit, okay, that's kinda cool. I realized one day that if the natural colors of the world were sickening, all I had to do was paint over them with colors that seemed pleasant. But how'd you get paint? I went to the hardware store and bought every color of paint I could find. Then Saya and I tried different combinations until we found one that worked. But how could you tell it was paint? After painting the bedroom from ceiling to floor, I was finally able to get my first good night's sleep since the accident. So you can just paint away the gore? Why is the paint not gore then? Because it's liquid? Then why didn't you drink your coffee? Like, I'm confused, but it's probably not worth thinking too hard about. When we first started on the living room, Saya, unsure what to do with the curtains, just painted carefully around the windows. Without a moment's hesitation, I tore the curtains down and painted over the glass itself. There will never be anything out there that I'd want to see, and as long as we keep the storm shutters closed, the neighbors probably won't think anything of it. Dinner's ready! Can you bring it in here? As she enters the living room with a tray of food, Saya sniffs the air. The paint smell doesn't bother you? Now that she mentions it, I suppose the smell of paint thinner must be building up in this closed room. It doesn't really bother me though, there are far worse smells outside. Does it bother you? No, I'm fine if you are. Saya sets the food on the table. Unfortunately, neither its color nor its smell is at all appetizing. Not that food elsewhere is any different. Thanks, Saya. As has become routine, I steel myself and methodically transport the food into my mouth. Ugh. The taste is as gut-wrenching as I expected, but it's not Saya's fault. I'm sure she made it exactly like the cooking show said. It's just that my taste buds can't accept it. It's not good? She asks hesitantly. Well, no. Lying won't make Saya happy. She knows about my condition. And doesn't think you're insane for some reason, probably. Don't worry about it. I'll make something different tomorrow. Sorry. You always go to the trouble of cooking, but It's fine. If I keep trying, maybe I'll find something you'll like. In my current state, eating is nothing more than an unwelcome duty. As much as I hate it, I need food to survive. If I stay alive, then perhaps one day, as Saya says, I'll be able to taste something delicious again. I met Saya, didn't I? Aren't you going to eat? No, I already ate. In all the time we've been together, Saya has never once eaten with me. I don't know why she refuses to do so. It makes me a little sad. Still, I'm not about to push the issue. Not when she's putting up with all the problems I have. By the way, I asked about your father again. You did? Dr. Ogai Masahiko is Saya's father and her only living relative. Saya has asked me to unravel the mystery of his disappearance. They still wouldn't tell me anything. I get the feeling they're hiding something. Oh. I expected Saya to be a little more disappointed. You haven't given up, have you? No. Saya responds with an unreadable expression. It's not that. She gives a little shake of her head, then smiles at me once again. Thanks for all you're doing for me. It's nothing compared to what you've done for me. I thank her for the meal and set my chopsticks down next to the perfectly clean plate. As wretched as the taste was, thinking of the care that Saya put into it gave me the strength to finish every bite. Is it bath time? Yeah. Will you wash my back again? Sure. Ever since Saya moved in, it's been like having my own wife. Okay. Am I gonna have to blur shit? You painted the bedroom. Okay. That makes sense. I was gonna ask as soon as you went into the house, like, how do you sleep on this flesh bullshit? I would not be able to, no matter how used to it I got. Saya, why are you so good to me? Oh, for fuck's sake. God damn it! Okay, text box opacity? Hello? Where would that be? Actually, does this count as a grotesque CG? Let's see. Nope, not according to the game, it's not. Fuck you. Okay. Shit. Where... Is there an opacity option? Is there fucking not? What the hell? Text... I'm just being as sure as I can. And that's all sound. So no. Okay, shit. I don't know how I'm gonna go about censoring this then. Shit, man. If there's not an opacity option, then did I change anything? Is it in here? No. Okay. I'll probably think of something, but it's possible that the entire screen is blocked out with a black box. So, yeah. Or maybe I'll just type in the important lines, because right now she's only moaning. So, that's great. Christ. I knew this was a short VN, but I didn't expect them to go to this bullshit immediately. Fuck, man. Back to the tried and true method of the sticky note mechanism. Yay! Ha ha ha. Okay. I will only read lines that seem to be important, otherwise I'll just describe what's going on. They are having sex. She is moaning. Who could imagine that her seemingly incorruptible body would ever glisten with the hot sweat of passion, or feast on pleasure with such bottomless lust? Saya, my darling Saya, is this really what you want? Why do you go so far from me? What am I that you can give yourself to me, body and soul? She is moaning again? Is this merely sympathy? Do you pity me, the exile from society? Is that enough for you to surrender yourself to such mad desire? Are you so wanton? I don't know what that word means. She is moaning again? She said she's going mad. Great. Her eyes, as she gazes down upon me, are devoid of twisted or sinful desire. There are only the melting flames of ecstasy. Her beautiful, carnal moans and undulating body seem impossible, dreamlike, and I cannot help but wonder if even the pleasure searing my flesh is but an illusion. CG changed, he is now grabbing her boobs. Needing to reassure myself that she's real, I raise my hands to her breasts and seize them like my life depends on it. She is moaning. Saya convulses, screaming like an animal. As I roll her sharp, pink nipples through my fingers, she throws her head back and gasps for air. She is moaning again. I don't know what I'm going to pieces means. Saya is here. She is with me now. Only in this moment is her existence certain. Only when I am joined with her can I believe. She is saying that she wants him inside of her. I nod and accelerate the pace of my thrust. I can't take, like, written sex scenes super seriously, ever. Saya's gasps rise in pitch as her mad dance of passion reaches its peak. CG changed again. I'm not even gonna bother describing. They're just having sex still. I don't know if they're just spelling coming as C-O-M-I-N-G instead of C-U-M-M-I-N-G because mistranslation or what? But she's saying she's coming, but C-O-M-I-N-G. So I don't know. She is moaning. No matter what cruel fate might await me, Saya, there is nothing I fear more than losing you. She is screaming. As Saya climaxes, convulsing and wailing, I surrender to her tight embrace and unleash my boiling seed into her womb. She's moaning again. Okay. Are we back? Are we good? Are you gonna throw tits and dicks and vaginas on the screen again, or are we good? Saya collapses atop me, still smiling, and I wrap my arms around her. The feeling of her soft, sweat-soaked skin and the warmth emanating from her body reassure me that she is still here. Fuminori, are you crying? I realize that my cheeks are wet with tears. Why, Saya? Why do you go so far for me? Fuminori. I don't understand it. I don't, but I'm losing myself to you more every day. I can't live without you, Saya. I wrap my arms tighter around her, praying that our bodies will melt together and never again be apart. Tell me, please, what must I do to keep you with me? How can I repay you? Oh, for fuck's sake, nipple. I don't trust YouTube's fucking community guidelines anymore. So if there's ever just anything suggestive on screen, I'm just gonna cover up the entire screen. I don't care. But she is laying on his chest. Keep holding me, Saya whispers into my chest. I want you to make love to me. I want to stay like this forever. I won't leave you, Fuminori. Why? Why me? Because you're all alone, she says softly, gazing up into my eyes. All alone, just like me. The sorrow in her voice resonates with my own. There is a deep loneliness in her eyes, a loneliness from which now springs boundless affection. You're all I have in the whole wide world. Only you will embrace me, my precious Fuminori. Now I know. No matter what horrors this world unleashes upon me, all I'll ever need is Saya. Okay, are we good? Are we back? I would have to assume so, considering we're in a classroom now. Yo is determined to talk to him today. Nothing will happen as long as she hesitates. It'll only prolong her suffering. The time has come to show courage once again. Okay. What kind of fucking top is that? I'm sorry. Why? Whatever. Yo's fourth period on Thursdays is biology. This is her one chance to see Fuminori. As a required course with many students, the lecture is held in a large hall that can seat well over 200. But since the room is usually only half full, it is rarely difficult for Yo to find the seat she wants. Yo prefers to sit near the center, where it is easiest to hear the professor. Most of the students congregate in this area for the same reason. Fuminori usually sits beside her, although given the ambiguous state of their relationship, she knows better than to take this for granted. Still, she tries to save a seat whenever possible. The classroom isn't crowded today, so Yo is able to set her bag on the seat next to her without inconveniencing anyone. So, hold on. They haven't said they have homework ever, but how does he do homework? Does he just not? But when the professor arrives at the usual time to start class, there is still no sign of Fuminori. After waiting for about 10 minutes, Yo scans the room furtively. Fuminori is there, sitting alone in the far back corner. Did he miss Yo when he came in? No, he couldn't have. And besides, no serious student would willingly sit so far away from the front. I would! Fuck you! Feeling miserable, Yo slides her bag back over to herself. I was always a back corner goblin. In every fucking class, I would sit in the back row no matter what. Not because I was cool, but because I don't like people looking at my laptop screen and shit like that. And I'm able to just relax, you know? Kick my seat back without leaning on someone else's desk or table. Fuminori is out the door the moment class ends. Yo barely manages to catch up to him before he disappears down the hallway. Fuminori! Fuminori jerks at the sound of his name. You would think she just screamed at him. What? He turns to her and asks reluctantly. That was a bit too aggressive of a what. I will try that again. What? Now that they are face to face, Yo is painfully aware of how much weight Fuminori has lost. His sunken eyes and protruding cheekbones are a far cry from the features similar to her. She wonders whether he's under a lot of stress, or perhaps not getting enough nutrition. Maybe it's both. He definitely looks more tense than he should, afraid even, though of what she can't imagine. His eyes move restlessly from point to point, and he refuses to look Yo in the eye. It hurts to see Fuminori this way. What could have changed him so? Today, she reminds herself, rekindling the flame of courage in her heart. I want to talk to you about something. Do you have some time? The courtyard is empty and silent. No one is willing to sit and chat in the cold November air. So what is it? Don't you remember? Yo almost blurts the question, but manages to keep her composure. You've been acting strange lately. I'm worried about you. Well, a lot's happened. He smiles like it's nothing, but even that seems forced. He's even standing precisely one pace farther away from her than he used to. Is that really all? What more do you want? Yo manages to keep from flinching at the harshness of his tone. It's like you're struggling with something. Rather than answer, Fuminori grinds his toe into the dead grass at his feet. Fearing that her determination might flag, Yo lets the words come as they may. Wait, how do clothes work, actually? How do clothes work with his delusions? Is it, like, association to other people? Like, the clothes he was already wearing are fine? So he doesn't do laundry? Like, and the same thing works for Saya, I guess? Whatever. Feels like there's a terrible weight on your shoulders, and it's slowly breaking you. That's how you look to me. Oh, really? Fuminori mutters through clenched teeth, no longer trying to deny it or change the topic. This is an even clearer signal of rejection in his prior evasiveness. But Yo's determination is strong. Today, at least, she won't back down. It's times like these, she implores, trying to convey the sincerity of her feelings for him, that you need your friends.
I feel really bad about your parents. But you're not alone. You have Koji and Nomi, and you have me.
Yo can no longer stop the words pouring from her lips. She fears that if she does not unleash her feelings now, they will be lost forever.
I think we can help you, so you don't have to deal with it all by yourself. Even if we can't do anything, just talking to us might make you feel better. I want to help you. We all do. So please, tell me.
Stop it! Fuminori shouts, silencing Yo's entreaty? I've never known how to pronounce that word either. She promised herself that she wouldn't back down, but Fuminori's expression is terrible enough to shatter her resolve. The look in his eyes is not anger or any other warm-blooded emotion. It is hate, murderously cold hate. Come to think of it, I never gave you an answer, did I? He remembers, and still he has treated her so coldly. That is all the answer she needs. If his words stab any deeper, she might very well die. I never saw you in any special way before. When you asked me out, I wasn't sure how to respond. I didn't know how I really felt about you then. Fuminori. But now I can give you an answer. I've had plenty of time to think it over, you know? I hate you, Tsukuba. I don't even want to look at you. Don't cry, Yo tells herself, but too late to stop the tears pouring from her eyes. I suppose it's too much to hope I never see you again. We do go to the same school. So just make this the last time you speak to me, okay? Your voice makes me sick. How can you be so cruel? Yo whispers. How can you be so cruel? Yo whispers in shock and despair. To which Fuminori twists his lips into a malevolent smile. Jesus Christ. Like, I get it. Obviously, I get it. I probably wouldn't be able to help myself from just telling people I hate the sight of them if they looked like fucking, you know, hellspawn. But, it's still rude, jeez. But again, I get it. You should really try thinking for yourself once in a while. I bet it was Koji and Omi's idea, wasn't it? Well, you can play at love all you want, but leave me out of it. That's all Yo can take. Even after shedding tears in front of him, she absolutely refuses to let him hear her cry. Any disgrace would be preferable to breaking down here. So she runs, fleeing breathlessly from the courtyard with Fuminori's cold smile at her back. Jesus. Omi was the first to catch sight of Yo and Fuminori leaving for the courtyard. Reluctant to interrupt them, but still unwilling to leave them alone, she and Koji ended up watching the whole thing from the shadows. That asshole! Throughout the exchange, Komi. Combining their names now, let's go. Omi was clearly itching to jump out and punch Fuminori in the face. That would have fucking ended well. Christ. Please no one do that. Someone's gonna do that, but please no one do that. Knowing her temper, Koji kept firm hold of her arm until the end. If he hadn't, she might very well have done it and then gotten fucking murdered without a doubt. Fuminori leaves after Yo, his every step seeming to take an act of willpower. Koji sighs heavily into the once more empty courtyard, but the bitter taste in his mouth will not go away. What's wrong with him? Even Koji cannot forgive Fuminori's treatment of Yo. However, the first thing that he feels is confusion, not anger. Koji has known Fuminori since long before college. Fuminori was never this cruel before. There's no question now that the accident changed him. Are you just gonna let this go? I don't want to, but what can we do? Something besides watch! Omi shouts, her face red with fury. I won't be satisfied until I give him a piece of my mind. That won't make Tsukuba feel better. But it'll make me feel better. Yo and Omi are best friends, just like Koji and Fuminori. In fact, it was the relationship between Koji and Omi that brought the other two together. Omi's anger is only natural. I'm going to talk to him alone. You don't have to come. You serious? Take care of Yo for me, will you? She's probably really hurt. She'll need someone to be nice to her after she's done crying. Wait, shouldn't we switch jobs? You know how I am. If I try to comfort her, I'll end up making it worse. Yeah, you've got a point. Hey! Anyway, just go easy, okay? And don't die, even though you might. Ending the conversation before Omi's mood gets any worse, Koji heads off to find Yo. Okay. I think I'm gonna end things here for now. This is really good so far. This is actually really interesting. Particularly, like, just the presentation, swapping between Fuminori's perspective and others. Like, and the way it's interwoven. And also just, like, the temporal aspect of it, I guess. Because, like, the very first scene is him talking with his friends, seeing them as flesh beasts. And then they recontextualize the conversation to let you know that this is something that's only affecting him. And also just establish their characters in a way where they're not fucking flesh monsters. But, yeah, and even the H scene in there, wasn't nearly as fucked up. Fucked up isn't the word. It didn't feel as tacked on as some of the ones in Wonderful Everyday did. In hindsight, my biggest critique of Wonderful Everyday is it seems like some of the H scenes were just thrown in there for either shock value or just because. Like, some of the scenes, like, they did not need to exist, and a lot of them I just skipped through, and they were too long also. They took fucking like 10 to 20 minutes. This one just happened. Like, that one was, with me laughing, it only took 5 minutes. Like, I wasn't even reading at the proper pace that I normally would, but yeah. But yeah, I'm enjoying this so far, so I'm excited to continue it. Either way, though, that's gonna be it for this episode, guys. If you liked it, then be sure to press the like button, and if you didn't like it, then fuck you too. Remember to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all my videos and stuff. And as always, my name is Godzi, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye! Yeah.